A controversial refugee admission has sparked diplomatic tensions between the United States and South Africa, following the arrival of 59 white South Africans who were granted expedited refugee status under unusual circumstances. The group, predominantly from the Afrikaner minority community, touched down at Dulles International Airport near Washington, D.C. this week, where they were greeted with American flags and patriotic decorations, a stark contrast to the typical refugee experience marked by prolonged waiting periods and rigorous vetting. Their swift processing occurred despite the Trump administration's broader suspension of refugee admissions, including for applicants fleeing active war zones, raising questions about the selective nature of the policy.
They're being killed, and we don't want to see people be killed. Now, South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something, but we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of, but it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place, and farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me, but white farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they'd talk about it. That would be the only story they'd talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation taking place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people to escape from that violence and come here.
President Donald Trump justified the accelerated admissions by claiming white South African farmers face genocide and racial persecution, assertions firmly rejected by the South African government. The land reform process is constitutional and necessary to address historical injustices, President Cyril Ramaphosa countered during a press briefing, dismissing the genocide claims as baseless. The dispute stems from South Africa's controversial land expropriation policy, enacted earlier this year, which permits the government to redistribute certain agricultural lands without compensation when deemed in the public interest. While no properties have yet been seized under the new law, the policy has drawn criticism from figures like Elon Musk, who called it racist against white landowners. Human rights organizations have condemned the preferential treatment shown to the Afrikaner group, noting that over 120,000 refugees from conflict zones remain in limbo due to the administration's suspension of the U.S. refugee admissions program. This selective compassion reveals a disturbing racial hierarchy in America's refugee policy, said Melissa Keeney of the International Refugee Assistance Project, whose organization is currently challenging the administration's broader refugee restrictions in court. The Episcopal Church announced it would cease cooperation with federal refugee resettlement efforts in protest of what it called discriminatory prioritization. Crime statistics complicate the narrative of targeted persecution. South African police recorded 44 murders on agricultural properties this year, with only 8 victims identified as farmers. While the racial breakdown of these crimes remains undisclosed, analysts note that farm workers, predominantly black South Africans, represent the majority of agricultural crime victims. The diplomatic fallout has been significant, with South Africa recalling its ambassador after accusing the US of white victimhood politics, while Washington criticized Pretoria's stance on Israel at the International Court of Justice. As the debate continues, the case highlights growing global tensions around migration policies, racial justice, and post-colonial land reforms.